Bulunaka guys! I'm your host
And
Cheryl,
I'm your host, Gloria.
and you're watching Beyond
Beyond
the
the
Reef.
Reef. So, if you're new here, we explore different topics every month,
Mhm.
and we are so excited to continue sharing the theme Culture Shock with
Yeah.
our new guest today.
And known to us as Jojo. Without further ado, guys, Jojo, please
Please
introduce
introduce
yourself.
So, Bulavinaka, everyone. My name is Josefa Babitu. I'm 26 years of age. I am from Levukanavunambalavulau with sharing maternal links to Serua, but raised in Sawanambuki Levukandavu.
Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, Jojo, how long have you been here in the United States?
This month would be 2 years and 10 months in the US.
Oh, okay. So when you first moved over, what made you decide to move over to the United States?
It was a once in a lifetime opportunity to have a green card and move over here. And that's when I received my green card, which was on my birthday. I knew straight away it was something, something exciting awaits, and I took that leap of faith and moved to the US. Yeah, I was excited, and also my parents are from here too, so but they live all the way in Atlanta, Georgia. But I, decided to move to California.
Do you get to go to Atlanta a lot of the time?
No, not really. I think the last time I went was in 2024. Yeah.
All right. So when you moved, did you move with anyone else, or was it just yourself?
I was by myself. I flew in on September 20th. It was on a Wednesday in 2023, and I came in by myself. Yeah, I flew in by myself.
So, what would you say is like one of the biggest culture shocks, like when you first arrived to the
When I
States?
first arrived, for obvious reasons, how everything moves so fast here in the US. But zooming in, I would say the multiple jobs that a single person can have. Like in Fiji, we are used to having just one job, but here in the US, we have multiple jobs. Like for me, I have three jobs. It's when I tell my friends back home, they sort of like wonder how it works. But I just say it's something that has to be done here in order for you to afford life. Yeah.
So, like you mentioned, you have three jobs. Did you was there a career shift when you moved over to the United States, or?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely. I was just starting, in the journalism field in the media landscape in Fiji. Barely, 2 years in the field when I migrated. So the excitement for me was, seeing myself grow in journalism in Fiji, but having to move over to America, there was no easy way for me to get in. Even till now, I have to, go back to school, do my GED, and go to a community college. But caregiving was the easy way for me to earn money here. And also when I came over, I had a student loan back in Fiji that I had to pay. So I saw caregiving as the only solution to all of this. So after a month at home in Atlanta, I told my parents that I'm moving to California to pursue caregiving, and I've been doing it ever since.
So, what was the support like from your family back at home in Fiji? You know, you letting them know that you're moving over to the United States.
I did not tell anybody that I was moving here. Yeah. I don't know. I was scared. I was overwhelmed. I knew it because it was going to be a totally different experience, new country. So many things were going in my head that I just didn't, feel like I wanted to bother them. It was up until about 24 hours before I left Fiji when I started telling all my family. Yeah. And by that time they couldn't do any sort of like kanavata, nivitalpala or anything, which I didn't want in the first place. So I, from my flat in Nandawa, I just boarded the bus to town and then the bus to Nandi all by myself. And then in Nandi, I spent the night at my cousin's place, and they were the ones that dropped me off at the airport. Yeah, so.
So, when you moved here from Atlanta to California, would you say that you had like identified some struggles, like starting over with caregiving, like compared to you in Fiji? Like you said, you lived in a flat in Nantawa, but like when you came over here to California, was it, a little tough for you?
Thanks to my cousin Tevita, who lives in Sacramento. He said why don't I try out caregiving and see what it's like? And that's when I flew here to California, specifically in Sacramento. And then I did a live-in job taking care of 6 people. It's around the clock, 24/7. Um, in Fiji, usually you clock in at 8, you clock out at 5, and you have a life after that. But when you do live in, your life is around the client that you're taking care of. And in my case, there were 6 clients, and never in my life had I sort of like cleaned an elderly or taken care of an elderly. So there was some stuff there that really made me cry and rethink about the decision that I had made, whether it was the right move or not. Um, but the moment after a while, after about 10, 20 minutes, I realized that this is life. Of course, there'll be mountains. Why should I take a step back when I could be, take just weather that storm and, take that next step. Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you that are watching, caregiving is really big within the Pacific community here in the United States, also in Australia, in the UK, for I know. But it's pretty big in the community, and it's kind of like an unspoken topic too within the communities, like back at home in Fiji. But it's something that we see our parents do day to day. My parents are in the field as well. So, Jojo, would you say that you've met other people? Like, have you worked with other people as well? Do you know others that do caregiving?
Oh yes, yes. I work for a home care agency. I do market up until December 2024. That's when I, move in towards the admin side of caregiving. So I became a comms and a marketing person for a home care agency in Santa Rosa, and I've been doing it ever since. So that's where I sort of like get to know all the people that are in the caregiving field. And trust me, I would honestly say that I maybe know more than 400 of them. Yeah, so caregiving is an industry where where we can easily get into because of our you know of our you know care culture. It's how we take back in feed back at home. We take care of our seniors. If you see a senior, you obviously go and ask them how they are. So, but on this side, we do it for as a profession. It comes naturally. Exactly. Um, and it's also caregiving is also, other than being in the oil field, especially for men in the oil field, caregiving is usually your stepping stone to pursuing whatever dream that you have here, or some might say your American dream. Yeah. So caregiving is where you get the money, you pay for your school, and then you venture out on your own, pursue to whatever dream that you want. And speaking of, if I know other people, I do know a lot of them, as I've said, and I also know people who were in caregiving that are now moved into to other careers. The fact that they were able to finance it, especially in school.
Yeah, sorry. We got into the topic so quickly. For those of you that are watching and don't know what caregiving is, Jojo, would you mind like explaining what it is?
Yes, here in the US, we Fijians are known as compassionate caregivers. Caregiving is basically, for us as a profession, we take care of elderly or adults with developmental disabilities, or anybody, if you, have had a major surgery and you just need to be taken care of for a few weeks. That is caregiving. But it's the categorization of it that differs the kind of pay as well. The pay for those taking care of seniors is different from those taking care of adults with developmental disabilities, and also those for children, especially if they're on the spectrum of autism. So, but in general, caregiving is basically when you take care of somebody who is in need. Yeah.
So like for us Gen Z, like we would say like, would you put someone onto the job? Like would you suggest that for like other people that are coming in from Fiji or from like, within the Pacific? Would you like suggest like, you should do caregiving? Would you suggest that to them?
Oh yes, definitely. At first they would, might be reluctant, but once they get the hang of it, some of them don't want to jump into other professions. Yeah. Some of them, it's the way of bridging or mending relationships with people that they miss, especially their grandparents. Most of them grow up without meeting their grandparents, and when they do this, it sort of like rekindles or sort of like birth that relationship that was supposed to be there for them, but wasn't. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like you had mentioned, like earlier about, there's a lot of men that do in the like in oil rigs here, like with the within the Pacific communities. From my understanding, caregiving is open to both men and women. So, it's pretty unique. You get to see like both men and women in caregiving. And with your day-to-day work, do you see that as well? Like you see like a variety of like people like doing caregiving.
Oh yes, yes, definitely. There are more women in the industry, I should say, and also many clients that we get on board, they always prefer female caregivers. Yeah, it's natural to them, but for us, having men in the field, it's it's in some way we have to work around the emotions, but definitely once you've built a trust with the client, it comes naturally, as you said. Yeah. Other than that, you know, everybody is a caregiver, but not everybody can be a good caregiver. I know some friends of mine have. One of my friends has joined the military just because he can't do caregiving. He's also my age. Caregiving is just not for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, guys. So, Jojo, could you tell us a bit more about yourself? Like, what was your journey before you came to, America? Like, what were you like at school?
Uh, yes. I never saw myself being in America. I never knew that there was this thing called a green card. I am here in the US through my parents. That's how I got my green card. Um, there was, I just didn't know that there was such thing as you could move to America. I only thought that you could only visit, but when my stepmom had told me about it, I was like, okay, let me look it up. And we had to lodge it before I turned 21. And I got my papers on my 23rd birthday. So, that was a good birthday gift and a perfect one, I would say. But my life before that, between the age of 21 to 23, I was working in the newsroom. I was working with your mom, Vasiti Soko, who was my director at NDMO before I joined Fiji Sun as a news reporter, and I was working there until until I migrated. Other than that, what else was I known for? I was known for nothing. Just parties on weekends and back to work on Monday and church. Yeah.
Okay, so what was your journey like in NDMO? Did you
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. The job that I was recommended for, I was recommended by my good friend Angela. My it was a job for somebody who's really experienced. Yeah, at least spent 15 years in the industry, especially in media. My files was at the very bottom. This is according to your mom, and she wanted some, and whatever she was looking for happened to be in my folder. So my folder came from the bottom all the way to the top. And the moment she saw me, she said that I was her next person to mold, and yeah, I'm really grateful for her on taking up that chance on me. And the journey at NDMO, I spent 8 months there. It was beautiful. It was the place where I got my passport. I traveled outside of Fiji. I traveled all over Laos, Yasawa, and where else? It was good. I did communications and media work for NDMO.
what would you say was like the most challenging part of your job in NDMO?
Yeah. NDMO, nothing. Yeah, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. Yeah, I mean, despite coming in at 8 and going home at 11, there was nothing else. Yeah, long hours, but I love the long hours.
Would you say it was the work environment or just the job itself?
Both of it, work environment, the support, uh, the guidance, especially from director, from the former director and Angela, and also my other boss, Amelia Makutu. So these three putting me together, molding me, and it just made everything much more easier in terms of workload and experience at NDMO.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, like you mentioned, you had bought it off, and then now you're doing that as well here in the United States with caregiving as well.
Yes.
Would you say that it's not only like a job but a passion of yours in like with media and communication?
Yes, my passion is in journalism, and with it comes it's all associated communications, and now I'm doing marketing for the company that I work for. My job is to go out into the community, introduce us as Fijian caregivers, you know, try to market ourselves. How are we different from other agencies, and the kind of care that we provide, and try and get in leads. So it's all similar, but I believe that my strength right now is doing marketing in the home care industry through storytelling. So I do a lot of storytelling. Every client that has recovered or some has passed, we try and speak to family members, try to speak to the clients who's recovered, and try and get out the story of what it is like to be taken care by us. Yeah.
So, besides your work, do you have, what are your day-to-day hobbies like when you're not clocked in?
CrossFit and walking my dog. Yeah. I discovered, so when I moved to America, loneliness was one of the things that I had to, overcome. And I had a set of friends in Fiji. I had this, I had that. Everything was in perfect, order. I had fallen into place. But when I moved here, I realized that I was to do things on my own, and figure out where I was going to live, how I'm going to go to work, how am I going to be able to earn money and send it back home so that my grandmother can eat good food while I'm here, ensure that my family are safe and well equipped with whatever that they want, that I'm able to finance from here. So, but all of this sort of overwhelmed me, and I would say, I wouldn't say depression, but it was just a moment that I had hit rock bottom, and I felt like it was too early for me in my life to have moved to America. But if God's decision was to God's plan was to and God's will was to move me here at 23, then I have to shoulder everything and move forward. And that's when I discovered CrossFit. Trust me, I didn't know it was CrossFit until about a month later. I just searched up group training near me, and that time I was already living in Napa, and that came, and I have been doing CrossFit for 2 years now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, guys, if you are looking to get into new hobbies, just put you on to CrossFit.
CrossFit is I mean, it's a sport concept that I don't think really exists in Fiji. I think there's only one gym that does it. I'm not too sure. I stand corrected. It's it was new to me here, and I'm sure it will be new to other people in Fiji. Yeah. And other than that, is spending time with my dog. Yeah.
So, what would you say is like one of the hardest lessons you've learned since moving here?
Is not to be comfortable where you are. For one thing that I saw that I was doing was I was comfortable in the Fijian community. I was comfortable around my Fijian friends. But being a caregiver and planning to do something other than caregiving, I do not know what that is. I'm thinking between nursing, pursuing a career in marketing, and corporate ladder. I do not know, but caregiving is the foundation right now. Um, if I want to grow and grow especially as a private caregiver, I wouldn't need to connect with other people. So I still have my Fijian friends, but I sort of branch out. I got to know anybody in I mean, I get to know people in Napa. Even if it's like, hi, my name is Joe and I'm a caregiver. This is, if this is my number, if you know somebody who needs to be taken care of, I would appreciate your call. And that's sort of like introduction, sort of like create a bond between one another, me and other people in Napa. And I'm so grateful that I have a big community in Napa who are able to start referring clients or people that needs care. So grow out of your comfort zone, especially if you're Fijian. Try and network yourself outside the Fijian community, especially in this field of caregiving. Yeah.
Okay, so like on our previous episode, just like how thank you Jojo, how we had Jaden and Navi share their own experiences, and they're pretty different from from how Gloria and I shared our experience. They're very advanced. They're able to make friends, get to know new people. So just like Jojo said, how we want to network outside of the community, get to know people, so that way we're learning new things, we get to do other things outside of like our comfort zone. So thank you Jojo for that. um what's one um what's one thing that your family members or friends at home, like, they wouldn't know about your life, like here, like mm-hmm.
I think they I think they think that I'm rich, but I'm not. They think
Yeah, I think that's kind of
You
like a
know,
hidden,
it's a normal thing
yeah,
when you move to overseas.
overseas.
The expectations from your family sort of grow. For me, honestly, one of the mistakes I had done that I had made rather was when I started working, when I had less bills to pay, I was sending, money to Fiji. I would say hundreds and hundreds and hundreds every week. But then when bills started coming up, when I took out my car, when I took out a car, when I loaned out a car, when I started, subscribing here and there, doing this and that, paying for school, trying to pay off my student loan, the bills sort of add up, and of course, a roof over our head and every other thing. Um, the bills started to pile up, not pile up, but started to the amount, started to increase, and I realized I don't have enough money to send back home. By then, my family had, especially in the village, sort of like, and we need this, we need that, and uh, yes, I think they think of me as, as the person who would bridge the gap, but I need to first bridge my gap in whatever thing I'm doing here. But also, what they do not know is, how hard I'm trying, and I'm def I'm definitely trying to make something here, but I would also say that I also feel for my friends who can't go back home, who miss their parents, miss their grandparents. I'm fortunate that I was able to go back home, that I'm able to go home, and I went home last year in September. So I was able to get that motivation again to keep moving, and when I came back, I was ready to face the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's probably something that we often how do you say, we often come to realize, yeah, when we move overseas, like you kind of feel it firsthand when you get your first paycheck, or when you start to make money, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't really think that it was going to be like this expensive. Like, back at home, did you realize you'd be paying like this much bills when you got your place here and your huh?
Nope.
Very different.
Nope.
Okay, what's one, like, I would say like a random bill that you think that you'd never be able to pay for when you came over here? Like, I would say mine would probably be like I think mine would probably be like the trash, like how we pay for, like, yeah, trash and stuff like that. What do you think yours would be?
Why would mine? Oh, the phone bill.
The phone
You
bill,
know how in
yeah.
Fiji you just you just buy a SIM card for like $5, and then you just top up like $6 for, and then get free calls for a week.
Yeah.
Here my bill's like around $118.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's expected of a big country like this. Yeah.
So would you say, like, after moving, even though because when you're moving overseas, you get good money, you're able to, I would say, live comfortably. I have, like, I'm very fortunate to have to say that, like, I live comfortably, but it also comes, like, with its struggle. So you ever, like, reached a point, like, when you, like, I can't really handle this anymore, like, reached a low point, you would say?
Um, in terms of lacking motivation, I have reached, but sometimes I just wake up and don't feel like doing it. Um, in Fiji, when I wake up and I don't feel like doing it, I usually go to my family and to my aunties and uncle and just spend time with them. But yeah, I know I have my cousins, but they're all there in Sacramento. They're also working. Uh, uh, but there are definitely nights where I had gone to bed crying. My pillows could feel all the tears. Um, Crying about just wanting to know if this is if this is the right way, if this is if what I'm doing is going to create something and it's going to sustain me and it's going to. I do not know. Obviously, nobody knows what the future holds, but you can only live in the present. So if I wake up another morning, I always ask myself, what best can I do today, and how best can I achieve it, and how long is it gonna take me to achieve it. So those are some of the things that I just sort of self-talk myself and try and get. And also one of the things I discovered was when I hit rock bottom is to always have a long drive and listen to audiobooks,
Yeah.
especially motivational ones, and
Yeah.
I found it has helped. Of course, this is other than opening your Bible and praying about your situation. For me, one of the things that I'm really fortunate about when I hit rock bottom is to know how to come back to God. Of course, I have derailed many times, but I'm grateful that I still know that there's God that I can still go to and call Him and talk to Him whenever I want. Yeah. Yes. Financially. Financially. Trust me, I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. uh, but being able to, one of the things that I really, really learned here is the importance of having an emergency fund. Yeah. So when in 2023, when my client died, I had saved enough money to last me more than 3 months. In terms of paying bills, in terms of everything. Um, that's when I realized, back in Fiji, if you, as soon as you're done with one job, you just know very well you don't have enough money to live on. Of course, circumstances are different, but it's the your approach towards it. Yeah, whether you want to finish a job and have no money, or finish a job and have an emergency fund that can sustain you while you're in between jobs. Um, so that's one of the financial things that I learned, is to always have an emergency fund. An emergency fund is not savings. Savings is different. I know, when I came here, I was starting putting money in my savings account, and then when I get into some financial troubles, I start taking money again from the savings account. And then I learned you should have another account which is totally dedicated to emergencies. And I'm grateful to have learned that, as soon as I got here.
Would you say, like, for those of you that are back home, like in Fiji, is that something that you would say is like, for example, right? You open up an extra BSP account or open up an extra ANZ account, or it's something that you would have like in your FNPF, like open up an account with that. So just
Oh, it would have to be an account, a bank account. Yes, regular debit card. Just have enough money there to sustain you for at least 3 months. I know all our circumstances are different, and I know that there are people. I mean, there's some of us whose family only depend on one paycheck, and you have to sort of like divide that, and you might not end up saving anything. And there are families that shoulders responsibilities, and if you have enough, of course, have it as an emergency. I'm not a financial advisor, just so you know. I'm also, just disclaimer, I'm also a little bit broke, but having an emergency fund is very important. And I know that a friend had said never to say that you're broke because you're just affirming it. So I rephrase from saying that I'm broke. I am financially. I'm not in the financial situation to be able to give financial advice.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Jojo. So on Beyond the Reef, if you saw last episode, we have a very special segment. We have rapid fire questions. So okay, let's get started.
Okay. So, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Spicy food or mild food?
Extra spicy food.
Wow. Polisami or Kokonda?
Kokonda.
Rugby sevens or rugby union?
Sevens.
Biggest fear?
Biggest fear. Oh, losing out.
Okay.
Yeah. But I should say it's okay to lose out, because you sometimes you're not meant to be in a circle. Yeah. But for me, losing out in terms of not going to the gym, missing out on a class, not submitting my schoolwork on time, not being able to make it on time to church, or not making it to church at all. That's what I meant by losing. Yeah.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Right now, it's at the gym when people put different plates.
Yeah.
Like there's a rogue, there's something else, and you put them together and it doesn't match.
Yeah.
It really bugs me. Yeah.
One thing you miss most about Fiji?
One thing I miss, waking up every Saturday morning and going to the supermarket for seafood.
Oh my gosh, yes.
One thing you don't miss?
One thing I don't miss, the heat all year round.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I like it here because it has its own season.
Yeah.
In Fiji, it's hot throughout. I love it. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
Tropical haven,
Mhm.
but sometimes I just can't stand it,
Yeah.
especially if your work involves being outside.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So would you say you're what is this? Like a hiking type of person or like a beach day kind of person? Yeah.
I'm a hiking kind of
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
What's best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I have ever received. Oh, it was from Amelia Makutu, who was my boss from Fiji. She said, whenever I made a mistake with, with press releases or with a social media post or with something to do with work, she would ask me to sit down and ask, did someone die? And I was like, no. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
It's
move on.
done. It's be done. Just learn from it and don't make the same mistake.
Okay, so what's your favorite Fijian saying?
Hmm, favorite Fijian saying? There's so many. Um, I don't really know what to say.
Yeah. Okay,
What's
yeah.
yours?
I don't. You know. I don't even know. Me too. Because there's a lot. I would say mine is mostly like spiritual. So that's like it's. I can't really choose. Like I can't really pick one.
Oh yeah.
I would say, wasata wakandende.
Mhm.
Mm, being patient,
Okay.
especially for if your blessing is taking a while.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay, so if you had to describe your journey in one word, what would it be?
Mm, mercy, Yeah, I live by the grace, by the mercy of God, and every every time before I make a big decision, or even I'm at the crossroad,
Yeah.
I turn back to God and ask, for for His mercy endures forever. So,
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you so much, Jojo, for answering our rapid fire questions. That's all that we have on our rapid fire. And if you also want to ask our guests or our hosts for, if you have specific questions for us, please make sure to hit us up on Instagram. You can also comment on our YouTube and make sure to like and subscribe when you're on it as well. Also on our Facebook. Okay, so on to the next question, Jojo. What traditions helped you stay connected to home? Oh, okay, guys, thank you so much, Jojo, for answering our rapid fire questions. That's all that we have on our rapid fire. And if you also want to ask our guests or our hosts for, if you have specific questions for us, please make sure to hit us up on Instagram. You can also comment on our YouTube and make sure to like and subscribe. Also on our Facebook. Um, okay, so on to the next question, Jojo. What traditions help you stay connected to home?
what traditions?
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of food, is having ika vakalolo every Sunday because we always do that back home.
Yeah.
Also being in terms of people connecting with, you know, my Fijian ties here, especially my cousins, my uncles. Whenever we have, a songo, I always try and make it. Um, what other traditions? Oh, and wearing my sulu
Okay.
every almost not every time I go to church, but every Friday at work, even during the weekdays. Yeah.
Like when you go out in Sulu, like out here in the United States, do you like you have people that stop you?
Oh yes. People at the gym, because I do post it on Instagram. They ask if it's a wraparound.
Yeah.
And I was saying it is somewhat like a wraparound, but it's for men. It's part of my tradition, and I don't want to let it die. So, and it's also the best thing you can wear.
Yeah.
You don't have to iron your pants. You don't have to, Yeah. So for food, it's ikavakalolo every Sunday. For people, is being able to meet up with them and go to every sangha possible, and of course having the kalavata.
Yeah.
And then for clothing, it's the suluvatanga to church and also to work.
Okay.
Looking back, would you make the same decision to move?
I would, yeah, I would, because the life that I've dreamt of, in Fiji, when I was working, I was dreaming about having a car in my 30s, um, advancing my career, moving from journalism to communications, later in my life. But all of this, I would say that I have it right now. A car, a roof over my head, doing comms work, a little more of marketing work. Uh, I just like the way I like it. I love it, and it's teaching me a lot of things. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay, so if you could go back, and speak to your 22 or 23-year-old self before leaving Fiji, what would you say?
Take the risk.
Yeah.
Take the risk. Yeah. Take the risk. You obviously don't know what's ahead, but take that risk. I am a person who really, really, go dark when it's something when I regret something not giving my all into. Um, so for me, he's always trying to take the risk, and if I don't have it my way, the fact that I know that I had given my all should be enough to keep me content. Yeah.
So what message would you give to our young Pacific Islanders today if they're considering to make the same move you did?
Same move I did. Each and every one of us, when we move, across the ocean, when we move overseas, it's always to be about taking care of our family back home. We are making the sacrifice to come and, do whatever job we have to do to be able to send money back home. So when you come here, the fact that you're considering moving right now should be enough for you to realize that you have the drive to move forward. And when you come here, things might not go your way, especially in terms of coming to live with your relatives who are expected to live with, and they guys you at the airport, or things happen. But don't let it be, or don't let it stop you from having to move forward and building the life that you want for yourself and also for your family back home.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us on our episode today. We're very grateful to you, Jojo, for coming on to our episode. And thank you so much for sharing your journey as well. We want to make sure that we continue to share, our individual experiences here on Beyond the Reef. If you want to what is this? If you want to hear more stories just like this, we will be uploading videos every week. So please be sure to tap into the conversation, watch our videos on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment as well. We also upload on our Facebook, on our Instagram, and
YouTube.
TikTok. Yeah, a TikTok. So yes, please engage with us. We'd like to hear from you all. And guys, keep going beyond the reef.
Bye.
Bye.